Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I've been thinking about lately is genetics, and the recent news about 23andMe going bankrupt. I was actually surprised. I've been reading articles talking about how they were going bankrupt for months. I mean, since
Maybe it's just now the
but yeah,
final
so it must be like
stage or
they
final
actually
filing or
got to
something.
the filing. Yeah, it must be
I
right.
don't
Like
know.
something official, paperwork wise, filing wise, must have happened today for it to be coming up in this way, shape, and form for all the late night comedians to be making commentary about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the primary thing it made me start thinking about was how conversations we've had in the past where people are going to have to get over the concept of privacy. I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean, I know people have said it, much smarter people than us. Feel free, any of you out in the audience, to go talk to or go look at other people who are far more qualified to talk about these particular specific things. But uh, uh, people are going to have to get over privacy because it's gone, right? The privacy is dead is a real thing now, and mostly you and I bring it up in regards to AI, right? Um, and also feel free to jump in anytime on the AI bit. But yeah, so I was just thinking about it from the way we talk about it, how people are so concerned about AI taking their privacy and companies being able to take your data and sell your data, and and mostly it's in reference to intellectual property for content creators and this and that, and how can my data be used to train AIs and not train AIs, and overall we are of the bent that like people, this tool is getting invented.
Yeah.
That
Can't stop it.
yeah,
It's on its way.
it
It is here.
yeah, not only is it here, right, but they and I mean, the lever pullers, as we regularly refer to them, hundreds of billions of dollars have already been spent. Concrete has already been poured. Cable has already been laid, right? The the whole, it turns out that, right, we're just now being realistically informed publicly, right, that the whole building and unfurling of the 5G network was essentially so that we could power automated robots,
Yep.
AI powered,
Yep.
AI operated robots and machinery, nationwide in a thick, complicated network of
Yeah.
these tools, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're just being told that type of information, right? That, oh, because you and I noticed it, and maybe the rest of you noticed it, was because we really didn't notice 5G. When you use 5G signal for your cell phone and for your operations with it,
Yeah.
you typically don't have, you had worse results, right? You had slower speeds or lower or slower downloads and interactions with your apps, real time interactions with your apps. So then when we went and did some digging and research, and they were like, oh yeah, well that's because 5G actually works in this very specific way, and shorter wave pulse, and it gets blocked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of complexities to it, but then we basically found out that it actually is it is it's capable of handling massively larger amounts of data at a time, and it's because it was never meant for us as the lowly, hairless primates that we are, interacting with our phones, ding, 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 right? To get doing the dopamine rush interaction with commerce and capitalism that we're supposed to, right? It was never meant for us. It was to operate these AI robots and AI machinery and AI operation systems, for them to transfer information. That's what the 5G network was built for, right? And you and I just recently saw that news update, or what
There's a 6G now, or
right,
coming soon, or
right. They've
works.
just started production, or just started deployment of the 6G network. What in the fuck, right?
How'd that happen?
Right? Yeah. So so back onto point with the genetics bit. I just think to myself, the AI tool is being invented. We are, or is being constructed. We are the lever pullers, the species. We are spending more and more billions of dollars into developing this tool, and this tool in and of itself will eliminate privacy, right? What AI will be able to do contemplation wise and thinking and helping us develop tools and technology it will eliminate privacy, right? Just a surface level of what I'm talking about. Dylan Curious is a channel we like to watch. I highly recommend people going and checking out his channel.
We'll leave a link in the description.
Excellent. Yeah. He does a lot of futurism and a lot of AI news and information, right? And we've seen things on there that talk about, AI developed this type of science where we can now use these cameras to basically look through walls. We can now look through substances of all kinds of different materials and depths and thicknesses, on and on, right? And AI is helping us develop information to where we can now just basically look through the human body. And AI is developing technology that is helping us sort data in a way that gives us these almost godlike powers of prediction. On and on and on, right? So people just need to get used to the idea that your privacy is not going to be what it used to be. You will still have privacy in some new shape or form, certainly, but it will not be the privacy of old.
Yeah.
And let's not kid ourselves, people. As a species, we have come to terms with the changing of the term privacy before. Probably, I would argue, probably many a times. But I mean, like, what I'm getting at is a quick example would simply and easily be in the Old West, when you moved your family out west and you built your big old fancy cabin and you took out your stake in the American dream, right? Whatever the goofy comical details we could come up with for this, want to be comedian, they were one room cabins nonetheless. So when Pa was fucking Ma, the youngins were in the room with you, and no one gave a shit, right? So what privacy meant for an adolescent or tween or teenage kid in the 1800s, right? Privacy was a whole different thing in the Wild West, right? Just think of the way people used to shit in like group latrines, right?
Yeah.
Back then, it was not that long ago, right? So privacy shifts for us as a species. Privacy shifts for us, and we're trying to get people to recognize the fact that on a data level, on a oh my gosh, I can't believe I sent my genes, my DNA to that. Right, the lever pullers, whoever, they were gonna get your DNA anyway.
Right? They probably already have it. Anyways.
Exactly, right? We talk about privacy from this standpoint of, well, I don't want them knowing this about me. I don't know what them. All right, here's the thing. I don't see how it's necessarily a bad thing, right? Because people just get more honest with each other, right? I've always been perplexed by the people who, sometimes people call me a pervert, right? And I'm like, what? Why? Like, because I talk about things that we've all talked about with you. I've talked about these things with you. Well, yeah, but I would never say those things in front of Tina or Barbara or whatnot. What? Why?
Know your audience.
Right, yeah, know your audience and whatnot. Yeah. Yes, yeah, people, but I always just, perhaps it's part of my, I have a little bit of ADD or whatever, so I mean, perhaps that's why I always had such a hard time grasping what other people thought was appropriate in a conversation and why I missed the mark. I knew enough about myself and those things to where I just attributed it to that, right? But I also, as I've grown more and matured and thought about it longer, I am starting to think it's not necessarily, I think, a healthy thing. It's not necessarily a healthy thing exactly how dishonest people are with one another, if you ask me. Right, on a.
I think it also it promotes or encourages dishonesty within yourself. I mean, like if you're one way like just all on your own, you're another with your partner, you're another with. I mean, like, which is the real you? Yeah, it's hard to know if have all these different personalities.
Yeah, these different fronts that you put up.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Yeah. And I asked myself, I wonder if that's how we are so easily falling into this situation that we find ourselves in today, where so many people are are divesting themselves away from facts.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, because we constantly ask ourselves on a genuine question level, we're like, how did we get here? How did we get to this place where people can genuinely see, hear? I mean, like, everything about your senses tells you the truth, but just because someone who you like tells you different, you believe it. Here's what I'm talking about. You and I, we had no fucking clue what the term gaslighting even was. Turns out it's a thing that has existed for a while, right? Has some sort of connection drawn back to the gaslight district of San Diego or something like that. I don't fucking know. It's the internet. You guys look it up, right? But here are two near 50 people who had no idea what it meant. Yeah, perfect. Look that up for me, please. But now we exist in a fucking ecosystem of media where this term and concept of gaslighting has just become such a regular, everyday old thing. Everybody's experts on it. And what is it? The gist of it? Well, I'll tell you. It's the flat out science of straight up bullshitting your way out of what you've just done, right? We treated ourselves to this video. I don't know if we can even reference it because I don't know if you guys could. I don't know of a great way to look it up. But we straight up watched this video that is just this brilliant portrayal of gaslighting at its finest in like some sort of, it was like a 1950s movie segment or something, where this woman straight up walks in on her husband in the midst of coitus in their marital bed, right? She catches them, shocked and appalled, and, oh, Lawrence, what are you doing? How could you do this to me, right? Dude immediately just starts getting up, getting out of the bed, right? His mistress gets up out of the bed. She's silent, starts putting on clothes in the background. Dude is getting out of bed, start putting his on. Oh, honey, what are you talking about? So I'm glad you're home from work now. Is it time that we're going to do dinner arrangements or whatnot? We were going to meet Bill and Nancy for the restaurant or whatnot. At which point the woman is just halfway. She's, but Lawrence, what is this woman doing here? What woman, honey? There's no woman here. Anyway, what about the dinner plans with the Lawrences tonight? Aren't we? Or with the Johnsons? Whatever name I said in the hypothetical. But, and he walks her through this, just gaslights her out of it, but to where by the end of it, the woman genuinely is like, hang on a second, wait, no, yeah, I guess.
Because while they're talking, the mistress is gotten dressed, walked out of the room behind the woman, and she's no longer anywhere visible.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah, to where every time she's making a reference, like that woman who was in the bed, he's like, well, there's no woman in the bed. Look, the bed's made, right? Yeah, because him and the mistress made the bed while telling the wife there's nothing going on, right? Sorry, if you can find the video about this, it's amazing, it's brilliant. But overall, my overall point being is, what fucking world are we living in now where people are able to be gaslit so easily? I mean, like for instance, this current thing, what's going on with the Signal chat that everybody's talking about. You fucked up. You did it. Everybody knows you did it. You can't tell us that you didn't do it and make us believe that. Yet somehow, and don't get me wrong,
a lot of people will.
They're going to do it, right? Right?
They're gonna, yeah.
Yeah, right. Millions of you are going to believe that they did nothing wrong. Like, no, we didn't do what you absolutely saw, right? You heard, you saw, you tasted, you smelled, right? Like, it was a fucking fart, right? You just admit you farted, right? Right? Remember, like in our early generations, if you were the asshole in the room trying to convince the rest of the room who is suffering that you did not fucking fart, we crucified you for the coward that you were, right? But no, now we live in this world where you can gaslight someone. Gaslighting is a legitimate tactical strategy to try and take in this day and age, and I'm like, that blows my mind. Right? I don't know who people are trying to kid themselves when they say we're so fucking smart, right? We're so much better than all those other primates. we're barely better than all those other primates, right? Because we will have many discussions about the similarities with us and all the rest of the primates, but yeah, I just find it ridiculous that that's a way we exist now.
Yeah.
And so backing it all back up in a really completely tangential, not connected way. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sell you any sauce of bullshit here, right? That was a huge tangent, but anyway, people are gonna have to get over this privacy issue.
Yeah.
We're gonna because this technology, in the way that we are often hoping and we talk about in an aspiring way, that this technology is going to free our species in a way that's going to be fucking awesome for us. It's also going to, this is going to be part of the existential change that AI will bring for us, right? We're going to start talking a lot about that to get people to understand what an existential change is. And an existential change would be something like this, what we're talking about. Your concept, your idea of privacy, right, is going to change. And we're going to have to be okay with it. We're going to have to start getting okay with it.
Yeah.
Did you find anything out?
Yeah, gaslighting comes from a British play in 1938.
Hang on a second. Let's back this up. Just so we know, so that we get the details right here.
What?
Anyways, going back of what gaslighting is for.
Yeah, so gaslighting is based on a 1938 British play called Gaslight. It was later adapted into 2 films, also called Gaslight, in 1940 and 44.
Okay.
Depicts a husband who manipulates his wife into believing she is going insane so he can steal from her. Not the same.
Right, okay, it's got to be something different, right? Yeah.
One of his tactics involves subtly dimming and brightening the gas lights in their house while insisting she's imagining it. So that's where the gaslight part comes from.
Okay, yeah. All right, so nothing to do with San Diego's gaslight district. So whatever Google search I did at the time was already being redirected to bad information in the era of gaslighting. So who knew?
Interesting.
And yeah, so it'll be wild. It'll be wild to see how we get through this. But again, I have no worries that we're going to get through this, because again, people who are under the impression that this is somehow some new state of danger that humans have gotten themselves into. No, I'm sorry. People, this is who we are. We tell rumors about each other. We are drama queens. This is not a new thing. Social media didn't invent this. Television didn't invent this. We've always been this creature. It's probably part of what keeps us going and moving, right? When you become the dominant species that owns ecosystems and whatnot, you got to entertain yourself. You're going to entertain yourself through gossip and through rumors and through drama, So everybody, we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to get through this stuff. It's going to be fantastic.